Let's dive right into this explainer and unpack a fascinating framework by a writer named Xuefeng. Honestly, this is one of those concepts that completely flips our modern hustle culture on its head. We live in a world that is frankly obsessed with the quick fix, right? We want the ultimate life hacks, we want overnight success, and we kind of want spiritual enlightenment by the weekend. But today, we're looking at a text that argues the exact opposite. It presents a method called the scientific outlook on development, and it's all about how real, lasting transformation actually happens.
There's this beautiful, grounded proverb in the text, as 3 feet of ice does not form in a single day, nor does water carve through stone overnight. Just let that imagery sink in for a second. This immediately anchors us in the undeniable power of natural law. A towering tree doesn't just sprout up in a few years, and achieving a higher state of consciousness or a truly peaceful life doesn't happen overnight either. Great things, structurally sound things, simply take time.
Which brings us to a really fascinating question. If nature so clearly takes its time and we observe this every single day, why do we constantly seek the shortcut? Why are we always rushing against the grain of the universe? Let's explore how this text connects our modern, everyday impatience with some truly timeless wisdom.
That takes us to Section 1, the illusion of shortcuts.
Now, our desire for instant gratification isn't exactly a new phenomenon brought on by smartphones and social media. Over 2.5 millennia ago, Lao Tzu warned us, saying, "The great way is very straightforward, but people love to take shortcuts." It is a very human trap, and we've been falling into it for thousands of years, especially when it comes to personal and spiritual growth.
We constantly fall into this trap, hoping for overnight wealth, instant fame, and immediate success without putting in the detailed, unglamorous effort. But Xuefeng points out a pretty harsh reality. Seeking these shortcuts doesn't create enlightened or successful individuals. Instead, people just end up tormented, completely exhausted, disturbing their neighbors, and, in some cases, even falling into madness.
And this plays out constantly in the secular world too. We often see someone win a Nobel Prize and instantly label them an overnight success. But the reality of that achievement is way different. It requires years of diligent study, deep research, and literally decades of unnoticed, grueling hard work. As the text says, 10 years of hard study goes unnoticed before that one success brings fame. There are no skips.
Let's move on to Section 2, nature's scientific law.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is how the text defines the scientific outlook on development. Because science here isn't just about test tubes and laboratories. It's defined as respecting natural principles, laws, and regulations in all aspects of life. The text states that the way of the greatest creator is the way of nature, and the way of nature is science. Meaning, we literally cannot bypass these natural laws in our spiritual or personal growth.
The author is very, very firm on this next point. Any attempt to transcend or cheat these natural principles, whether it's through your thoughts, your desires, or your actions, doesn't just fail. It actively goes against the way of the greatest creator. And more importantly, it harms people and society. Trying to cheat the system is fundamentally destructive to the whole.
Now, you might be wondering, who does this actually apply to? Well, the answer is incredibly universal. Whether you are a politician truly wanting to serve the people, a leader guiding economic development, a regular individual just wanting a peaceful, cozy life, or a cultivator aiming to transform your consciousness, every single one of these paths requires thinking and acting according to this scientific outlook.
All right, heading into Section 3, the power of accumulation. Take a wild guess. How many qualitative changes can occur without the accumulation of quantitative changes? The answer, as Xuefeng explicitly points out, is absolute zero, none. You simply cannot get a massive leap in quality without steadily stacking up the quantity. The text stresses persistent effort over time, without constantly changing directions, or, as it puts it, fishing for 3 days and drying the nets for 2. Nature undeniably proves this to us. A plant has to go through spring to germinate, summer to grow, autumn to bloom, and winter to bear fruit. This natural cycle totally reinforces the impossibility of skipping ahead in our own development. Being eager for quick success is a total taboo here. You can't just demand a seed to bear fruit in the spring, right?
Or consider this incredibly relatable, almost funny example from the text. Even boiling a pot of water requires a continuous heating process. It really highlights the absolute absurdity of human impatience.
How can we possibly expect sudden, massive spiritual enlightenment or a total life transformation when we literally can't even boil water without gradual, consistent heat?
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Earning Your Miracles.
This is where we get a total redefinition of the miraculous. The text states that miracles occur only after accumulating enough merit and expertise. So miracles aren't some random, unexplainable magic dropping out of the sky. They are the earned, logical outcome, the saturation point of all that quiet, daily effort we've been talking about. It's a total delusion to fall ill and think that if you just burn some incense and chant a few spells, you'll get a quick cure without any real effort. Hoping for a magical rescue without doing the actual work is, as the text describes, akin to trying to catch fish by climbing a tree. You are simply in the wrong paradigm entirely. Xuefeng takes this a step further with a really stern warning. Since the time of Christ Jesus, anyone who performs or promises special miracles is not truly of God's way. The text firmly states that anyone displaying wonders to deceive the masses or promising magical shortcuts is not from the door of Buddha nor the celestials. It's a profound warning to guard yourself against deception.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Practitioners of this philosophy, who are referred to as Lifechanyuan celestials, apply this scientific outlook daily. Instead of chasing magic, they adhere to the way of the greatest creator, put effort into the fine details, cultivate their inner soul garden, meaning they actively nurture their mind and spirit, elevate their thinking, and focus on repaying debts and accumulating merits. It's highly structured, methodical work.
Which leads us directly to this incredible concept, the saturation point. When all of that day-by-day, seemingly boring, repetitive, quantitative effort reaches its absolute peak, that is when the miracle of qualitative change finally occurs. It is that explosive, exact moment when your consistent, grinding effort tips over into a completely life-altering transformation.
This builds into arguably the most beautiful metaphor in the entire text. Think of the intense struggle of a chick breaking out of its shell, or a caterpillar breaking out of its cocoon to become a butterfly. These aren't overnight magic tricks, are they? They are true, earned miracles resulting from a long, quiet, completely necessary incubation.
And to connect this back to reality, the text actually notes the results of this slow method. It claims that practitioners living together in a dedicated community, known as the second home, already exhibit incredibly high, peaceful states of life and consciousness. This methodical approach isn't just presented as a neat theory. It is argued to be the most direct, effective, and simple path to reaching higher levels of life. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Are you chasing an overnight miracle, or are you putting in the daily effort to truly earn your qualitative change? It's a profound question that challenges all of us to reflect on our own daily habits and really forces us to contemplate the true cost of our goals. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep accumulating that effort, and I'll catch you next time.